Hello, everyone. I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of BIZTOOLS. Welcome to this webinar today, where we're going to be looking at client coaching and mentoring. My apologies for the delay in getting started. I was just finishing another webinar. If you have any questions during the presentation, can you please type in the question and I will answer it during the webinar. This is part of our Tools to Create Opportunity series, which we've been running for the last couple of weeks. And today we're going to look at this whole aspect of coaching and mentoring, but it starts with communication. Communication with clients and prospects is very important. Accountants in Australia have traditionally supplied compliance services. When I say that, I'm referring to the small, medium-sized firms. And it's probably also been the principal emphasis of most of the larger firms, but obviously some of them have undertaken audit work and other work. And the big four, of course, undertake all sorts of activities. But we're primarily concentrating on the small and medium-sized firms. Traditionally, compliance work built around income tax returns and annual accounts preparation. But we all know that SMEs are looking for help on commercial matters, and some more so than others. Some have got a far better awareness of their need and their desire to be receiving advice on commercial matters. Unfortunately, many SMEs do not immediately think about their accountants when they're thinking about getting commercial advice. Why? Because they've become very used to the concept that their accountant is, they think, only interested in undertaking taxation matters. If you wish to supply a range of diversified services, and I hope you do, including business advisory services, you need to change this perception. But you might say, how? By the way you communicate is the key, I think. That you are talking about the services you supply. In the first instance, of course, to your clients and then prospects. And word of mouth will do you some good, will help you in your promotion. But the other promotional activities that you will have to generate include newsletters, podcasts, blogs, seminars, webinars, articles on your website. So these will be communications that you're prepared directly with your clients and prospects. So communication with clients and prospects is very important. And I'm now going to share our website to show you what we're referring to when we look at this very important area. And this basically relates to client mentoring and coaching. On our left-hand screen here, you can see the other products that are included within BIZTOOLS. There is 32 product packages included in the total system. And what we're going to be looking at today is client mentoring and coaching. And we have some bundled packages. The starter package, which we have a special price at present, $999. And the advanced package, which is the all-embracing package, we have a special price of $3,250 at present. So what I'm going to do is download the content of the starter package. And the first area that I want to go to is the material which gives you a summary of what's included. And we're going to be starting with purchasing or commencing a business. So the whole idea is the material's been prepared to enable you to send something to your clients. Because I think there's got to be a bit of giving from an accountant before you'll start getting the work assignments from your client and then the fees. Because we have to take them through an education process to show them that, first of all, you are interested in a range of commercial matters. Secondly, that you can supply those services. And thirdly, that you want to do that. So one of the ways of doing that, I think, is to send them some samples. Because after all, it's going to be the client that's going to pay the fees that enables all this to be justified as a service that you'll be providing to your clients. So what goes to the client? First of all, in series 1, we got checklists, structures, self-analysis. Series 3, successful acquisition. Series 4, insurance, accounting records. So this is material that you can send to your client every week or every fortnight, and then have someone ring the client to make sure they got it and to see whether they've got any questions. Now, in each of those series that I just went through, there is a letter which sets out what this whole basis is about. And I just want to share that with you. So you now have the purchasing or commencing a business series 1 checklists and structures. So this is explaining to your client why they are receiving this information from you. I think it's a good idea for you to have talked to them about this beforehand. And this would not be going to every client, obviously. This series is on purchasing or commencing a business. So it would be someone that you've talked to. Because what unashamedly I'm trying to help you do is to increase fairly significantly over the average fee that an accountant receives, because you're going to be providing a broader range of services. And I think that's one of the challenges that accountants are going to face up to. The average fee in Australia per client is around $4,000 to $5,000. I don't think that's high enough. That's just really basic annual accounts and tax returns for a business. I think it would be far better if when you first talk to someone about starting a business, you go through the type of work that you can supply to them and give them an honest fee estimate, which might be $20,000 to $30,000, so that they are going to be meeting with you at least 4 times a year, preferably 12, but at least 4 times a year on a quarterly basis. You're going to receive quarterly financial accounts. You're going to have a quarterly business review meeting to analyze what's going on. There should be an annual budget and cash flow forecast and projected balance sheet. I think that's the minimum type of service package that you should be providing to your clients. And quite frankly, if a new client starting a new business doesn't want to sign on for that, I'd be very hesitant about taking them on as a client, because they've got about a 70 to 80% chance of being a failure in their business. Whereas if you can supply them high quality, good accounting services by getting them into that discipline of analyzing their performance, understanding their key performance indicators, seeing the actual results each month or each quarter, having a meeting with them, not a 5-minute telephone call, but an actual meeting. Now, it might be by Zoom, of course, preferably if you can face-to-face. That's not always possible, even in cities. Client might be on one side of town and you're on the other. But it gives a chance to really communicate. So what you're using the mentoring and coaching package for is part of this education process, to be explained to this new client the services that an accountant can provide, which will help keep them in business and become successful. So this letter is just explaining why this has been sent to them. and it's telling them they're going to get a series of articles that ESS BIZTOOLS has produced. So they've got a far better understanding of what this business journey is all about. And then in each of these packages, we then have a series form where we're asking the client to go through and assess the papers that they're going to receive. Were they very helpful? If we start getting numbers ticked in box 4 or 5, which is the least helpful, we'd like to know, because there could be something wrong in the papers. We mightn't be getting the message across. But these papers, and I'll show you a couple of them in a moment, you would have badged them with your name and you've sent them to your client. And at the end of it, we're asking them, what other topics would they like covered, and would they like to make an appointment with you to discuss the purchasing or commencing their business? And my suggestion is that 4 or 5 days after you've sent this email with this material to your clients, one of your team telephones that client and says, did you receive the articles we sent you? Have you had an opportunity to read them? Have you got any questions? Do you want to see Bill or Mary, the name of the partner or whoever's handling this assignment as the manager, to discuss any matter? Because unashamedly, what we're trying to do is to get this client to have a light bulb moment to say, gee, I need that report also prepared, and I need to know a bit more about this. So that you're showing them very clearly that you're able to supply these services to them. That's number one. And number two, you are then giving them your sales pitch that you can supply those services to them. And then you give them the proposal, what it's all going to cost. So that's the journey that we're on with the clients. So let's look at a paper so that you get a better idea of what that's all about. We might look at the small business overview. Beginning in business, small business overview. Characteristics of a small business, businesses in Australia. Who were the businesses? Legal structures, employment, small business. So it's an article just to give your client or prospect a bit of background as to what's included in a business. And what is happening in businesses, so they've got a better idea. We might look at one more, purchasing a business checklist. So the purchasing a business checklist goes through the full summary of what's involved in buying a business, the sort of information you will need to give them advice. What you're trying to do here, of course, is to make sure that if they're buying a business, they get all the information, they don't buy a dud, and they've got a fair idea how this business operates before they sign the contract. And if they don't get all the information, hopefully they will not be signing the contract until they receive it. Many of your clients will not understand the structures in a business, and the paper on business structures will be very important for them in understanding the structures. So we're referring to sole traders, partnership, discretionary trust, unit trusts, and companies. And then we have separate papers on each of those entity types so that they've got a better understanding of how all this fits together. And as you can see, we've got links to those other papers. There's an explanation there on discretionary trusts. A lot of people got no idea. Even people that have run or operated under a discretionary trust for years. So we tried to explain it, and it's obviously explained in a lot more detail in the actual paper on discretionary trusts and then unit trusts, etc. You could have then continued to receive the information and looked at other products and services that are contained within the categories. Which is now summarised on the screen there now. So we've had a look at checklist structures and tax issues. They were all covered there. Self-analysis, successful acquisition and source of finance, insurance sales. Now, you might not want to send all this to every one of your prospects. You can pick which ones you want to supply. But let's come back to what the aim has been. The aim is this is potentially a new client. They're buying a new business. It might be their first venture. They might have worked somewhere else for the last 25 years. You need to really establish that you are their trusted advisor, their key advisor, but there is a range of services which really, I think, should be virtually non-negotiable. This is what they get in this package of services for you to be their accountant. And if they won't sign on for that, well, I don't think you should be handling their work. It's as simple as that, because you need to supply a high level of services, and you can't do that for the basic fee that covers the preparation of annual accounts and an income tax return. So what we might do is just go back and look at one of the other packages. And we might look at experience management. So this is someone that's been in business for a couple of years, who's now talking about scaling up or running a bigger and better business. You can see here from the categories, there's actually 10 series in this. And we've started off with characteristics of a well-run business and then departmentalized accounts, because if they're running more than one activity, they may have a manufacturing business, but they got a delivery service operating, they have an office, and they have some other allied business working. My recommendation is that there's 4 or 5 separate profit and loss accounts being prepared. When the budgets are prepared, they're prepared in those individual departments, then consolidated, so that you're able to get reports which really identify what's happening in the individual components. Because when everything gets put into one profit and loss account, a lot of the potential efficiencies and ability to analyze financial performance disappears. And that's why a lot of your clients show no interest at all in the overall annual financial accounts that you prepare, because they know they're just being prepared for tax returns. They really need to see them broken down into their individual departments with the key performance indicators that apply to those individual components. So if we want to have a look at characteristics of a well-run business, we have the email, the letter, which sets out what we're doing. There's some example of key performance indicators for a retail store, stock analysis, and then the, pardon me, the paper, in this case, is the characteristics of a well-run business. Pardon me. So there's 20 characteristics. There's a couple of 3 addendums that are attached just to explain it a bit easier. And we go through the characteristics. Now, this particular paper is really directed at someone starting a business. Do they have personal capacity and development? Have they got drive and energy? Have they got self-confidence? Can they solve problems? And we've got papers linked within this. Do they have customer knowledge and service? Do they understand the target market for this business? Especially, well, it doesn't make much difference, does it? Whether they're buying a business or starting a business, they need to determine who the target market are and work out whether they can deal with them. Do they know anything about the industry, or is it something that they're learning about? That can be very difficult. And I think it's one of the contributing factors to small business failure in the first few years. Do the working hours of this business suit them? You know, there's some businesses that do start work at 4 a.m. of a morning. Is that going to be suitable? And others, of course, work very late at night into the wee hours, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. when they finish. They need to have proper systems. They need to be able to analyze their results. So what these papers are doing is opening up a whole series of conversations that you can have with this client or this prospect to determine clearly what your role is going to be. It's not just to prepare an annual set of accounts and a tax return, I hope. You should be looking at providing a full accounting service. And that's what the ESS BIZTOOLS material is there to assist you with. And by supplying this information to your client, we and our subscribers have found that this is setting the scene. The client understands, and they are building up their expectation that you are going to be looking at these various issues for them and raising questions and helping them on this journey. Now, this is in the advanced area, as we sort of experienced business operators. These people could be committed to scaling up their business. The turnover might currently be $1.5 million, but they want to be at $5 million in 3 years' time. There's a lot of hurdles and obstacles in the way, but they can achieve it, but they'll need your help. And unfortunately, if you do not offer them that help, there is a very high probability they will go and find someone else, whether it's an accountant or some other consulting type organization, or a bigger accounting firm who tell them that they can supply those services. And you will have lost this client. So that's the way the system operates, to be able to look at this sort of information, to get you able to help the clients in this journey. So our contribution to this is giving you material that you can use to inform and educate your clients on the services that you can offer. And in client mentoring and coaching, as I've just given you an overview, you've got a number of packages that you can utilize: purchasing or commencing a business, introductory management, experience management. So we've looked at both purchasing or commencing a business and experience management, but there's others: dealing with banks, business planning, preparation and use of periodic accounts. We talked about them in effect. The concept of, at the very least, having quarterly financial accounts prepared and a quarterly business advisory meeting being held. So there's a detailed discussion with your client about their business performance. Business networks, very important. Corporate governance, exporting, marketing. Family businesses, getting investment ready. If these clients are in the experienced pack area, some of their clients may be wanting to scale up. Some of your clients may be wanting to scale up. So they're looking to potentially look to raise capital. It's crowdsourced funding, equity raising. They may have undertaken research and development. So they may be trying to raise some capital. So early stage innovation company capital raising could be a very good option for them. There are rules relative to income and expenditure, of course, and age. And there's government assistance. If they're undertaking research and development, they may have been interested in the Accelerating Commercialization Grant, which is up to $1 million and a 50% subsidy. So what these packages are opening up is the opportunity for you to have a number of conversations with your clients, to get a clear understanding of where they want to go. And then you can determine a proposal to them that enables you to supply the services to help the client on that journey. Please don't leave it to once a year discussion, primarily about income tax. There's a whole range of commercial matters that the majority of your clients will be very happy to receive notification from you that you're able to offer them services. So we've given you the overview of the client coaching and mentoring package. We also have this promotion, which we're running at present, which runs until the 6th of December, Tools to Create Opportunities. You get 7 great products in this special promotion for an investment of $795. That's 12 months upfront payment, which includes GST. You get 24/7 access. It's a great way to introduce a range of diversified services to your firm. Now, included in each product package are 4 compulsory products. That's the business advisory services training. There's 13 modules there, and that's to get you and your team ready, because business advisory services is different to supplying a compliance service built around taxation. The Business Plus newsletter, we produce 13 editions during the year, none in January, but 3 in May normally, although that's going to change again this year, because I heard the other day that the federal budget is going to be delivered, I think it was the 29th of March. So March will have 2 editions this year. May will have 2, the normal one, and the other one will be an end of year tax planning schedule. ESS papers to communicate with your clients. There's 343 of those. You've seen a sample of some of those papers. You badge them with your name and you send them to your clients. And the SME needs analysis, which is a great document because it gives you some points to discuss with your clients on a whole range of things, whether it's their debtors management. Are they worried about their debtors days outstanding? Do they even know what their debtors days outstanding figure is? Are they worried about their key performance indicators? Does the team understand what this information is? Is it expressed in terminology and language that their employees understand? Has there been some training so that they understand it? If not, there's an opportunity. Run some training for their team on understanding key performance indicators and how they can use them. So they get those 4 packages, then they pick 3 additional packages out of 22. So we got business health checks, which is really a mixture of benchmarking and key performance indicator analysis that they can be undertaking daily, monthly. And then that would be a key document that's examined in the business review meeting on a quarterly basis. And then we got all these other subjects: business planning, trades charge out rate calculators. Virtually every accountant in Australia has got tradies as clients. Do you sit down with them and go through and calculate what their charge out rates need to be to suit their team, their productivity, their working hours, their salary and wage payments, their overheads, their markup percentage on external purchases, and the profit they want to earn, because our system does. Professional firms, very similar, working out their charge out rates for a whole range of professional firms. If you haven't done this exercise before, why not start it now on your accountancy firm? Retail, looking at the great quandary that goes on in a lot of retailers' minds, because they've got different types of stock coming in. There's the stars. You can get high turnover in numbers of units and good markups, high markups. Then there's the cash cows. You sell a lot of it, but you don't get much of a markup. Then there's the problem lines. You know, it might be last year's fashions. Last year's ladies wore yellow. This year they want to wear red. You try to sell yellow dresses. Very difficult. So what do you do with that problem stock? And then you got the disasters, the things that no one owns up that they bought. Some of them might have been purchased through a computer automatically reordering when it got down to a minimum type stock level. You've got to be very careful about that. Make sure your clients understand that. If they're going to discontinue purchasing a product, they need to make sure it's been referred that way in the computer system. Otherwise, it churns out and orders replacement stock when it gets down to only a few left. And that can be very, very frustrating to managers. Buying a business. Client mentoring and coaching, what we just looked at. Client seminars and webinars, great way to communicate. Crowdsource funding, equity raising. If your client's got a turnover under $25 million, they could raise up to $5 million in a 12-month period from the public. There's a process, of course. You can help them. They're going to need a business plan, budgets, cash flows, projected balance sheets, an understanding of corporate governance, but they can raise $5 million. No security, no personal guarantees, no monthly repayments of principal and interest. Sounds good. It is. Debtors management, early stage innovation company. This is for young companies under 3 years of age, turnover under $200,000 in the previous 12 months, expenditure under $1 million in the previous 12 months. That's undertaken research and development, has developed something. There are tests, and they're all summarized in our package on early stage innovation company. You can become a real champion with your clients by understanding these processes and being able to implement them. We've got government grants. There's hundreds of government grants in Australia. We've got full processes to identify them, and then you've got material papers to submit the details to your client. Leadership modules, very important. And the personal property securities register, which you should know a lot about. And some of your clients should also be made very much aware of it, particularly tradies. And then we got selling a business, the SME debtors systems manual. We've pre-developed that on templates, and you edit it to suit your client's requirements. Put their name on it and then charge them the fee. Succession planning happens at businesses at all levels, I think. It's just not the owner or the CEO's succession that people should be conscious of. It's every person trying to train every team member today to do the job above them. So when people move or leave or get ill or whatever, you've got someone internally that can take that job. And survival in difficult times. 42 questionnaires that are linked to articles commenting on how perceived problems that have been identified in those questionnaires can be handled. A great tool, and one that there's a lot of requirements for in Australia at present, probably the whole world after 2 years of COVID-19. So that's what's included. You can obtain our product brochure on tools to create opportunities by sending us an email, and we'll send it to you. So just send an email to peter@eossbiztools.com.au. Future webinars. We've got another one on Friday, the 3rd of December, which happens to be tomorrow, where we're going to look at the business health checks for pharmacies. If you wish to register, please go to our website, www.eossbiztools.com.au/webinars. And we have another webinar on Tuesday the 7th, where we're going to look at that early stage innovation company. Very interesting, great concept. It's been in the statutes for about 4 years. Unfortunately, a lot of people are not aware of it. You can register for that webinar and come along and hear it, and then determine how you can use that for your clients. You won't find much competition from a lot of other accountants in that area, so you can promote that you understand it, you're an expert. So our contact details, peter@eossbiztools.com.au. You want to telephone me, please do so, 1-800-232-088. But if you do nothing else, please go to our new website and have a look at the materials and the services and how we can assist you as an accountant, bookkeeper, business advisor, or chief financial officer affecting advice or giving advice to SMEs. www.eossbiztools.com.au. Thank you for joining us for this webinar. Please stay safe. Have a great day. Goodbye. I look forward to hearing from you if you need any further information. Goodbye.